Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody?
Morning.
What's happening?
Morning.
Sorry to the audience, I didn't do my Q&A yesterday. I was at a bodybuilding show all day long. I'm going to have to figure out a different day to do the Q&A because welcome, Chad. Chad just signed up with me for coaching. Looking forward to working with you, brother.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to figure out a different day to do it because Saturdays I didn't think this through. Saturdays suck because that's during bodybuilding season because it's when all the shows are. But first big one of the year is first had 3 competitors out there yesterday. They all look great.
The Ginger Menace.
Yeah, Cody. Cody looked great. Cody's funny, man. He went from 3 years of working with me. He's went from men's physique to being the biggest open bodybuilder in the show yesterday.
Nice.
What was his stage weight?
About 225.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he was like right at the top of the heavies, and there were no super. Usually at local shows, if there are any super heavies, they're usually fat or they're winning a pro card. They're
saying I have a chance.
They're just punching the. Man, if you're super heavy at a local show, you're competing for a pro card, and you're lean. If you're lean and you're 225 plus, you're on your way to getting a pro card.
225 plus at 5'8".
Yeah, I was just like,
best I can do is 5'6".
Cody's funny. Like he told me like a couple of years ago, he's like, I just want to be a men's physique competitor, and like he just like we tried, and then we went to classic, and then he was fucking 12 pounds over the classic cap this year, and he's like, I want to just get down to the classic. I'm like, dude, you look flat already. Like if you look flat right now, we don't want to go down to the. Because I dieted, I started getting him down to like 220, and then he just started looking flat. And I'm like, all right. Just the night before the show, I told him to go get a whole carton of muffins. I'm like, just eat those.
Awesome.
Nice. And then he woke up yesterday morning and was like, boom. Anyway, he won the heavies and got second overall.
Burst in my heart.
I thought he had it, but the judges disagreed. So. I'm biased though. He's my.
They're allowed to be wrong.
And then my other 2 clients, they were first-time competitors. They both, fortunate or unfortunately, were in the same class, and so they got first and second in their class. But they both look great. But anyway, yeah, bodybuilding season's fired back up.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Dave, you didn't have anybody compete yesterday?
No, not yesterday. We got a good group of guys and gals that'll be competing at the Rhode Island show at the end of May. I usually try to urge people, unless there's like a show that you're convinced, like, early spring that you want to do, let's just see what the schedule is. Because all of us are really just kind of trying to make some gains over the winter, because that's when, most of the national shows are up. Everybody's kind of getting into their health phases and then off seasons, and then we kind of just wait till January 1, look at the schedule and go from there. So we'll be kicking off a good amount of people coming up here from the beginning of May towards the end. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah, we have a whole string of shows here in the DC area. This was the first big show first show of the year. Mm-hmm. And then we've got a whole string of them all the way up through October. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like from now until October is the busy time. There's usually a little lull in September. Yeah, and then there's more shows in October, and then all the national shows start summer. Like a lot of guys are doing these earlier shows to get their qualifications for national shows.
Mm-hmm. Down here in the Southeast, it feels like we've got like something every 2 to 3 weeks, like a really nice cadence, which allows people to then strategize, I guess, which makes it interesting. That's for sure.
It's weird. This year I did have a big influx of natural guys doing the OCB shows this spring and all year. I have probably just as many OCB guys and gals this year than NPC. Seems like a lot of people are getting into the sport, starting off at this kind of, the natural route, some of those different leagues, and have ambitions for the NPC, but just want to kind of dip their toe in early on, see what kind of competing's like on, I guess you'd say, a little bit of a lower level in the OCB. So that's pretty cool to see a lot of people, getting into the sport. That's what I'm seeing on my end for sure. Has anybody had any influx of fit model gals coming their way inquiring about coaching?
Probably after I talk shit about fit model. I don't know if any fit models are going to want to work with me.
I'm happy to coach any fit model. Apparently, I don't have to do much. So, send me money. I'll tell you you're beautiful.
I'm like, how the fuck do you even prep for that? Sorry.
Exactly.
Make them skinny.
Job is done.
Yeah. Caloric restriction. There you go.
No salad.
No protein, all carbs. I don't know. What's the strategy?
There's a couple of bikini girls I could easily, that I've seen in the past that compete in bikini, that if you just spilled them really hard, and I know that sounds terrible, but if you just spilled their diet really hard, you might be able to get them into the fit model in a very successful route. I understand. I guess you
depends on the person, though. I mean, look what happened with some of the bikini pros that tried to do fit model at the first fit model show in Japan. They didn't place well. I mean, they all placed outside like the top 15 because even spilled and like off-season bikini, they still have too much muscle.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the other side, is it's how much muscle you carrying in general anyway. So there's a balance of, they're looking for a specific conditioning look, a specific presentation that's unique to fit model. But then it's really generally like, where is this person developed in their muscular development as well? So
the skinny fat look.
Yeah. It's gotta be so strange to hear somebody tell you, like, we like you, but you're so fit that you're gonna lose.
Well, I tell you the way to achieve
that happens a lot in women's categories, though, Gonzo. I mean, you can come in too lean. I mean, I've gotten the feedback a number of times that I was, maybe potentially over conditioned but under musced.
That happens a lot in bikini.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's that balance. Then it's finding that right balance for the right category. Then
that's the same in all categories too.
That women can come in like too hard for a category for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a specific look that they're looking for in all categories, Gonzo, in male and female.
And so one question I've always had is, like, as judges, like any skill, judging, I assume it's a skill. You develop it. You develop a look. You learn. As judges learn, like, those aesthetics and those, because they are subjective to a degree. A lot of the things we're looking for. How do you learn? How do you become like a good judge? Like an accurate judge, I guess, would be like.
Well, they have training and criteria that they teach the guys.
Mm-hmm.
They go through their like
courses and so
judging.
On. Okay.
Yeah, they go through trial periods.
Learning to be a judge. Yeah, they you still score everything, and then they look at your score sheets to see how you would have scored versus the other judges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you want to see the training wheels of judging, just go to a local show sometime. You want to see inconsistent judging. I've seen guys. What's his? God damn it, I can't remember his name. Nick Justice. I remember Nick Justice got like fucking fourth at a local show, and then won his pro card a week later.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I don't remember what it was. I was like, what?
He just peaked differently that week.
Yeah, no, it was terrible judging. But yeah, you'll get the training wheels judges at some of the local shows. Depends on how big the shows are.
Yeah.
I would love to get into judging eventually. I don't even know how people get into started on that path.
I'm sure the NPC. You just talk to one of the guys. I mean, I would not want to do it. It's man, that's all. I have all my respect goes out to those guys, man. That's a long fucking day. My ADHD
long day.
Would not allow me to do that. And then, like, I think I have a really good eye for bodybuilding classic. Men's physique, not so much, but like the women's divisions, I have no fucking clue what I'm looking at. Like none, like zero. I would not feel comfortable judging any of the women's divisions. Like I have no idea what's and it's just and then you deal with all the I think they're truly trying to do their best out there. And like then you deal with all the bullshit afterwards. Like people I've seen guys at shows, like especially at these national shows, the judges are gonna like fucking run and hide afterwards, man. People are like cornering them in the hallway. People are fucking pissed off. Coaches, I've seen, I don't want to name names, but I've seen pro shows where coaches are screaming at judges afterwards.
I mean, emotions are running high. It's a high stakes situation, So much effort that you've put together for so long for your competitors. I can see that. I can see emotions running high if you're not careful. Throw in some hormonal balance.
And it's subjective in nature.
And it's subjective in nature. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and the whole thing, like the people talking about it being politics, that shit drives me fucking nuts, because you got on these big panels, like at national shows, it's 7 judges and they throw the top and bottom scores out. I mean, like, are you going to be able to control the narrative from 7 people?
Right.
Or, and you used to hear girls saying all the time, well, this girl slept with that judge and got it, and like even if that did happen, like is one judge going to make a difference?
What if she was
top
bad?
and bottom score out? Yes, Dave would be a good judge.
Dave would be a great judge. I agree, Jackie. He'd be a great judge. Yeah.
I
think on a local level, there is some politics is maybe not the right word, but there's a gym here that hosts every seminar. He's the head judge, so it's like you see what you're used to, so you can't really help it. 10 women walk up on stage, and 2 of them you see every single week. You're going to look at them, like it's just it's kind of human nature in that sense.
Yeah, I was talking more from the national show perspective. I've generally found being at the national shows that they're judged very fairly. Yeah. Usually they're IFBB judges that are judging the national shows. Where I've seen fuckery is at the local shows. I've definitely seen some questionable results at local shows.
Yeah.
And for the most part, a lot of people that have been around the sport long enough, like one thing to consider, Gonzo, is a lot of these judges, they've not just been around the sport as athletes, but they've just been around it as fans. And a lot of us can look at, we'll pick an easy category, men's open. A lot of us sometimes can just see the first 5 seconds of each person walk out, and I can call the winner. I can just call the winner. It's very simple. It's somewhat obvious to you, but might not be obvious to the next person. Like if I lined my mom and dad up and said, hey, here's the top 10 Olympia, they're going to just say what most people say. They all look fantastic to me. They all look huge monsters, this crazy. So there's definitely a lot of experience in an apprenticeship that comes into play, just like kind of coaching, right? Like what makes a good coach is time, and honestly, time doing it, time making mistakes. And then there's usually some sort of apprenticeship, like to a point, whether Paul realized it or not. I've learned a zillion lessons from Paul and him being my coach. And that's translated a little bit to how I learn. But it's the same thing with everybody that watches this show. They're learning from those above them, and then hopefully trickling that information correctly down. And then hopefully you start developing good good judges as well, that start from these lower levels. They prove themselves in some sort of apprenticeship of judging side by side, but they're not valued as much. They're kind of shadowing you. And then they start getting their opportunities at the small shows, and they work themselves up.
Yep.
And it kind of filters itself over time. So that's probably why you get better judging at the top, because it's part of the development of judging.
Yep. Well, think about it this year, Dave. When we were at the Arnold, I mean, when Hadi Chupin walked out, it was clear.
Yeah.
He wasn't. I mean, us being there, and all the emotional people on Instagram are like, the fanboys are like, he got robbed. But I mean, like when he turned around, it was clear he was off.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw. I mean, I'm sure you saw it too, man. Within, as soon as he turned to the rear, it's like, oh yeah, he's not his usual self. And that it was clear that it was a battle between Nick and Andrew.
Yeah.
Now we can debate who should have won, but that, it was clear. It was clear for us with an eye that who was there. But no, that's all a good point. I mean, you're going to get I used to ref basketball. I wasn't very good at it, but like when they start you off reffing, you start reffing Pee Wee. I mean, you're reffing the the sixth graders that barely know how to dribble a basketball, and then you get a little better at that, and they grade you on your games, and then they move you up to seventh grade, and then you might get some freshman games, and then JV, and then varsity is like kind of like the pinnacle. And then if you're good at varsity, you might be able to do some NCAA games and move up the ranks there. But it's the same thing with judging.
Yeah, just like reffing in the NFL. You know, those guys that are doing the Super Bowl have proved themselves. They work themselves up into that group. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
So I actually had a question related to this, and it's this: being relatively new to the sport compared to you guys, I noticed trends in judging of things that they're looking for or not for, I guess, or looking out for, and they change slightly. It seems like every season a little bit. Is that normal? Is that as the athletes develop and bring different packages and bring different looks, like 90s style bodybuilders versus the 2000s, 2010s? You can definitely see a style and a change in the judging and what's being judged. Is that am I right in observing that, or does the criteria change, or does the sport evolve and then the judges then evolve with the sport?
Probably a little from the top down too, because I'd imagine it's not everybody starting to fall in love with like aesthetics, where you start seeing the Samsons beating the big Ramis,
Right.
Like over time. It's probably a little bit of like, I'm sure the league has some sort of influence saying, we want to award aesthetics and tight waists, for example, rather than the bubble gut look or just the biggest guy wins. They want to see something that's a little more separate, a little more special. I'd imagine I could be wrong. I feel like that's got to come from the top down.
I'm sure. I'm sure that part is some of it's just the sport evolving. Like I've noticed, I was thinking about this a lot, like with classic has become the conditioning division. It used to be open. Open's not, the most peeled guys in shows now aren't in the open anymore. They're in classic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's probably an evolution of just guys being bumped up against the weight cap, and they have to really fucking force themselves. To separate yourself, you just have to be as big and as lean as you possibly can be. I don't know that was the original intention. I think classic was, you look at like the old classic guys, like I think Danny Hester was the first classic Olympia. I mean, no offense to Danny, but I don't think Danny would place in the top 10 now. But back then, the guys covered the glutes up. The classic guys didn't have shredded glutes. It was supposed to be a softer classic look, and then that's completely changed. Men's physique got big, man. Those dudes got fucking big.
Fast. That was
so they had to put a weight cap on it to fix that problem. I honestly think there should be a weight cap in the NPC. It's crazy to me that there's not with men's physique, and there isn't classic. Like my guy Cody could have gone and done men's physique yesterday, even though he didn't make classic. But yeah, no, you're right, Dave. They definitely seem like they don't like the bubble gut look, and I'm sure they've talked about that, and in the end, I'm sure they hear the fans too. They hear the fans complaining about shit. And the IFBB is like, hey, this, ultimately they want to put butts in the seats and sell tickets and have exciting shows. So I'm sure that drives some of it too.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, go ahead, Amy.
Oh no, I was going to talk about the Bikini Olympia last year, but Mike, go ahead.
Ultimately, bodybuilding is a sport of progression, right? Like the best athletes are trying to get better year after year after year. So the sport is just going to evolve, and of course, the judging is going to evolve with it, right? What the judges like this year, they see something next year that someone brings that's completely unique, and they're like, okay, that becomes the new standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only judge what's on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point, because if some of those say the top 3 aesthetic guys that fill out the top 10 are not there, and it's just a show of mass monsters and bigger waists and just kind of hard, dense people that aren't aesthetic, they can only judge what's up there. So it might not be
has to win.
Yeah, it might not be a preference, but that might be where the Nick Walker kind of supersedes that year or whatnot. even though it's not everybody's cup of tea. You can only just judge what's up there. It's a great point.
Yeah, really what determines, I think what determines the standard more than the judging is who shows up to the show.
Who's next to you, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, how do you compare to the person next to you in that lineup, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And you might look one way compared to two other people, then you put that same person, that same package with two other people next to them, and they look wildly different, right? The contrast becomes like really obvious, or not. Maybe.
I think that's what's happened in Classic. It's just evolved. I mean, because the guys are just keep pushing weight down to make the cap, and then they just have gotten leaner and tighter. And I don't know about you, but my eye always goes to. I'm a conditioning guy. Like my eye goes to the guy that's the most ripped on stage immediately. Like I see somebody tight and dry, my eye goes there. Yeah, I think that's probably the case with judges.
And also, like where I work with a lot of women competitors too, you have to be very. In the men's divisions, there's a little bit more leeway with the looks that you can provide. They can be a bigger spectrum in the open, where someone like Tanya's category is a great example of there is definitely your coach has to pay attention to the criteria that they're looking for. So usually when I'm looking at figure girls, I'm evaluating who's fitting the given criteria first. You know, so that means not too conditioned, but pretty close right up to the edge where they see striations and stuff like glutes and dugout hamstrings. But there's also like a big emphasis on your shape. There's a big emphasis on what body parts protrude, like as in your shoulders and your quad sweep. So you're really kind of, as a judge and as a coach, you need to be aware of what is the criteria I'm supposed to judge by. It's not my preference. You know, where men's open, you get a little bit more leeway because there's just a bigger spectrum of looks because you're looking at the extremities where nobody's capped. There's no weight cap. No one's telling you, hey, you're too striated in the glutes. That's not going to ever happen.
Unless you're just looking for the most appealing freak that day.
Exactly. Yeah, where you have a little bit more of a challenge, you know, where Tanya's got a little more challenge. We even talked about it with together, Tanya, about like how posing affects how you show your conditioning too. You know, like sometimes these girls have to turn around and actually loosen up some of the parts that they're posing because they're overly conditioned. And that's not because we don't like the look or we don't want to award good conditioning. It's just because that's not the criteria. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I like about female divisions too, is just the uniqueness of like, it's a little bit challenging. Like look at Classic. They definitely have to be more pinpointed on their peaks and they have less room for error. You know what I mean? So I honestly think Classic is harder to hit, you know, like your peak and actually present and match the criteria that you're given that you have to follow. You know, you can't just wing it and say, well, we're going to be the biggest Classic guy. You have a weight cap. So that doesn't always work. You can't be the most conditioned because if you're too deflated and you're 10 pounds under your weight cap, you're not showing your best look as well.
Yeah. And I think that's also had an influence on, you know, the open guys kind of leaning into that fact that the conditioning isn't their standout factor now because it is in the other divisions. So they're just leaning into the size and freakiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw that
last probably why you're seeing. Yeah, why you're probably seeing less of that dry graininess in the open division now.
Yeah, the open's definitely changed. The women's divisions are there's definitely a lot more nuance. I'm sure for judges,
and they're constantly changing.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, they're in more divisions, more to consider. So, yeah, I'm sure, you know, just like with anything else, practice, you get better at evaluating it. But you know. And also, you know, I noticed that there's a lot of coaches that seem to specialize in certain divisions. That's probably why that happens. You know, you'll see, you know, good dudes or whoever, just, you know, this is the bikini person. This is the men's physique person. You know, like
Cuts is the men's physique guy.
Yeah, everybody fucking uses Cuts for men's physique.
Yeah.
I don't know of any open.
When there's like male coaches who just predominate in the bikini space, it always kind of gives me the ick.
It's a little creepy, right?
Yeah, but that's the case. There are really Jamie Bernard is probably the only female coach who I would say is in the top tier with the other male coaches who coach bikini. The rest are all men. And even Jamie, she coaches with her husband Greg, so she's, you know, she does a lot of coaching, but she uses him a lot as well. I guess to me, I mean, being a bikini competitor, I have worked with female coaches, but I've had better experiences with male coaches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the whole
Yeah.
team thing, the whole gaggle of bikini girls all seeming to do the same thing. I see that a lot, especially in bikini, and it's always kind of at least a yellow flag when someone's like a primarily bikini coach and they have like 100 bikini girls.
Sure. You know, sometimes you just fall into a certain place. Like look at people like Luke Miller. You know, I'm sure he didn't pick to be, you know, leading a bunch of women on his team for figure, but it's just something he's extremely good at, and he just has a lineup of them, and they all gravitate to him. If you're good at that, then you're going to gravitate towards that coach, you know.
And those are usually the good ones that actually specialize in a division, is when it happens unexpectedly and they didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I just like
but I think
bigger ripped.
I think there's something to be said for that though. I mean, I look at, you know, let's say a wellness competitor. Martin has me blocked, but I mean, his girlfriend is a wellness competitor, and she has had some unusual peaks working with Boss. And I look at her and I think, would she be doing better if she was back with someone like Nelson, who did focus more on the wellness category, or one of these wellness specific coaches, because wellness is such a weird division in the level of muscularity and conditioning that's needed, but still all of the beauty components of the other, you know, like bikini category. I don't know. I mean, but I do look at her placings kind of dropping as the season's gone on, and wonder if it is something with coaching. You know,
to be fair, because I do follow her as well. To be fair, more recently they are experimenting with bringing some carbs and stuff back in instead of using the fat predominant peaks and everything. So, like, I follow her vlogs and stuff, and they do a lot of like, you know, after action, like, okay, this worked this way. What if we did this differently this time? What if we tried more carbs this time? And then she's bringing in more carbs before the show and everything now. So, I mean, he does change stuff here and there, and they are seemingly experimenting with different ways to get her peak better.
You know, and then sometimes you get scenarios like with using her as an example, and I forget her name, Martin's girlfriend.
Alexis.
Yeah, like Alexis. When she first started competing, some of the development of wellness was actually like a step up of size from bikini, but definitely a conditioning difference. Like there used to be a little bit more emphasis on crazier conditioning than bikini girls in the wellness division. And maybe once they started actually awarding the big size between the glutes and the lower half, and it really just became a lower half division where size does matter, maybe she said, well, I can't do that with the current coach. Stefan's kind of the guy that can actually fill this out for me, you know. So maybe they're chasing a look because of criteria as well, or the look they want to present that they think's their best look. I mean, I know I wouldn't say with a coach that I felt couldn't put the look I wanted on stage as well, you know.
Last few pictures I've seen of her, though, she's looking more and more like a physique girl than a wellness girl. And you wonder how much of that has to do with working with someone like Boss rather than working with, you know, a bodybuilder's coach who, instead of working with somebody like Amy's talking about, you know, someone who specifically works with wellness girls.
Oh, her upper body's way too small for physique.
Yeah.
She'd never be able to stay with those physique chicks. She has a very small upper body. But probably because she doesn't train it also.
Talking about judging, though, real quick, don't you kind of believe that I'm kind of under the impression that judging lately has been ridiculously fair? Like, I find myself arguing less shows, and I'm talking not just IFBB, but just kind of across the board. Even a lot of the shows I'm coaching people in the NPC and stuff, I have very little complaints. Like, it seems like they're getting it right, at least from my opinion. A lot of times.
No, they've gotten better. I mean, there's still, man, there's still some stuff at local shows that sometimes I'm just like, okay. Sure. I had a couple last year where I was just like, what the fuck? I saw one last year where I saw a dude that went out and won a national show the week later and got third at the local show the week before against guys that weren't on a national stage. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened here? I talked to him afterwards and he was just like, he was just laughing. He was like, I was just doing a warm up just to get ready for the I think sometimes too they get pissed when guys show up and do warm ups. I don't know. I don't know if it was a statement or whatever, but it seems like national shows though are like never an issue. I mean, look, it makes sense, man. You're going to get the B team at sometimes at local shows. Usually the head judge is going to be a guy that's a. Usually what I see is they have a head judge come in that's also an IFBB judge, and then they'll have a panel of other random people at the local shows. Depends on the level of the local show, but usually the pro-ams are going to be your best chance of getting good judging if you're looking to do a local show. That's what I would tell people. Look for a pro-am, because you're gonna you're gonna have the IFBB judges judging you. You're probably going to get a better shot. That's just my two cents.
Yeah, that was my experience. I mean, I did my NPC debut at a pro-am show in the Emerald Cup, and there were some great pros there too, and there was a complete pro panel, judges panel.
That's
So I've actually never
that's how it was my show too.
I've never been subjected to the B team coaching, but I hear when I go to shows and I watch it and I hear people complain, people I talk to in the gym and other people in the community, but it's just like I always kind of I'm probably going to piss some people off, but I always kind of hear it as a little bit of an excuse, right? When you start talking about politics and all this other crap, and it's like, you know what? Show up so good that they can't deny you, and it doesn't really matter, you know?
Become undeniable. I like that.
At the end of the day, it's my work ethic that I have any control over. Everything else is subjective to a certain extent. So
I thought this dude I was referencing last year was pretty undeniable, and he still got third.
Wait.
He was undeniable for third.
It was all politics.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying don't let it be the excuse.
I don't know. Win and say it was all politics. I wasn't that good looking. It was just politics, guys. Sorry, suckers.
But you know the way the scorecards are done, like the math on it, like if one person puts that guy in fifth, that could blow him out of a first place position.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it only takes one, you know, but that's why they toss the high and low score. But if you get two people that do that, then you get a situation where that could be a problem. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I would say largely I saw like 2 shows out of the 20 or so I was witness to last year where I was just like, huh, like what?
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about. I'm going to get your guys' thoughts on it. You know, we've got some people in here that coach, and there's been a lot of talk lately. Last year was the year of GLP-1s, and then now it's kind of turned the other way. I hear quite a few bodybuilding coaches, some big ones saying that they're not really fans of GLP-1s on contest prep. And I have
exactly what we predicted was probably going to happen.
Yeah. I am Justin, my coach I wish I should have had Justin on today to talk about it. He's leaning towards not having people do GLP-1s, and I am honestly, I think I did drop it. I've been off of it I'm going into week 3 of being off of it. The issue I run into, and we talked about it a little bit before the show, is just the bloating, the gastric emptying issues. Like I have this gut distension, and then my gastric emptying kind of just got in. Like I don't. It's funny because like my appetite's so low, I can't eat what I was eating on my last contest prep. I'm struggling getting that food down. But I think you know, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's one of those things where I don't want to be binary about it. I don't want to be yes or no. But I think there are situations where I've seen some people where it's been a godsend. People that have a hard time controlling their appetite, people that have a hard time losing weight. Like that, I had several guys last year that really struggled with contest preps before and couldn't get the weight off. And when they had the addition of the GLP-1, contest prep was a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some situations where like with me, it seems to just make fucking things worse for contest prep purposes.
Well, can't you kind of look at it like any other drug, whether it's a anabolic or it's a fat burner? There's ones that work for certain clients, work well and agree with them, and then there's other ones that you just can't throw into the equation because it throws off Sleep quality. It throws off,
Yeah.
it throws off their look because maybe they're too prone to the side effects of that certain compound or whatever it is. So, I mean, I kind of look at the use of GLP-1s as a benefit if you get to use them and they work well for that specific person. But if it's a 50-50 and it's fighting me on one end, but kind of helping the client on the other end, I got to evaluate what's best for our look and what I'm being, instructed to do as a coach, to put someone on stage at their best look and hopefully the best health that we can. I think there's benefits and there's negatives.
Well, that's the intelligent approach,
right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me, they seem very, very situational. Not only that, even with the same athlete, with the dosage, how we can play with the dosage, depending on, to Dave's point, if the issue for that athlete is, say, the appetite, versus the gastric slowness, say, or bloat, then you definitely have to fine tune that tool, to whatever it is that you're looking for. Heck, even the difference between the three, the SEMA, TIRS, and then that which shall not be named 3. Sorry,
we'll call it Voldemort cream.
I think there's a nuance here that good coaches are going to have to lean into that nuance with their athletes to really determine, because I can tell you that I have a research subject that acts very differently between 1 milligram a week versus 4 a week. The difference is vast in the gastric emptying and the satiation. And depending on where I'm at in prep, from what I learned last year, I would vary that. But that's me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think that's the intelligent way to look at it. The thing that always drives me nuts with some people, there's the team A and team B. It's like I'm all in or I'm all out. Like I heard one guy talking about you being weak and being soft, and this is you just need to suffer on prep. And I'm like, I don't buy into that mentality either. My that seems to be a lunkhead approach to me. That doesn't seem to be very intelligent to me. I honestly, for me, like with contest prep, I want it to be as easy as it possibly can be for people and get in the best.
Lower stress.
The less stress you're under, the better you're going to look.
I mean,
it's just like, it's the same way like our grandparents thought that they were tougher because they had to walk to school both ways in the snow uphill. That was somehow better.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole old school coach, you have to suffer mentality is just that's when you end up looking like a fucking string bean on stage.
It builds character.
You have to suffer as much as necessary.
Yeah. Well, yes. Isn't contest prep? I don't know. To me, it's almost like contest prep is a problem that you have to solve, and that problem is different for everybody. And you have all these tools in your arsenal. And what are the tools that can work for somebody, and everybody being very different, right? Like, for example, in my case, I only have 1 kidney. I'm never going to use a diuretic. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to endanger my kidney. So that tool is out completely for me. So that narrows my tool selection. So now I have to be smarter with the tools that I do have left. And I would imagine a good coach does the same thing. You got the weapons in your arsenal. You select the right tools.
I go back to the old John Meadows analogy. John, he had a simple way of approaching things. He was a very smart and great coach. John just talked about contest prep. He said, you have cards in your hand and you play the appropriate card when you need it. If save the aces for when you need them. And if you don't need them, don't put them down.
Right.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simplify your tool selection so that you can.
Because there's plenty of hard work. There's plenty of hard work on your plate that you have to do as the bodybuilder. You don't have to add more unnecessarily.
Yeah. I'm just going to play the devil's advocate role and say that it's a positive for bodybuilding because you don't have to use it. So right off the bat, you don't need to have problems with these GLPs if you just don't use them. So if you're worried about somebody thinking that, oh, this is just like anything else, if I take more, it's supposed to be better, that might not be the thing that you put in front of that person or suggest to them. But if it can benefit the right person, 1 out of 4 of my competitors, it benefits them. They show up a little bit better attitude. It keeps their mind on straight. It makes it easier for them to just handle their diet, which is another tool, right? So they're all tools. It's just why demonize one versus the other? Because there's poor diets too. Like the biggest tool we have prepping somebody is a diet. A diet is a tool. It's a strategy to get someone looking presentable on stage. There's a correct way to do it. Well, I don't want to say correct way. There's one method that might be easier for an individual, and then there's one that's just forcing a square peg into a round hole sometimes when it comes to the diet. So it also comes up to the coach. The coach has to understand, like, is this the right tool for the right person at the right given time? And how do I want to use it? And to what extent am I going to use it? Look at Trenbolone. We've had the discussions not too long ago about some people just can't use Trenbolone or choose not to, which is fine. And you don't have to have it. There's definitely no requirement card when you sign up to do a prep that you have to do anything or any compound. Pick and choose. You could prep with just D-ball and an AI if you felt like it. Go for it. You know, some people are going to have genetics that are going to be another tool and advantage that are just going to make it work for them. You know, so I'm going to take
hit it right on the head, Dave, with the Trenbolone analysis. It's so true. You can go through prep without Tren. You can do it. You absolutely can.
just like the GLPs. You can choose to use them or don't.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I was going to try to do this prep without a GLP-3, and then Paul cut my food. I'm thinking, well, maybe I will. I don't know.
You weigh the no carb days versus how much GLP you need to take. It's like, well, if there's 3 of these on, then I'm definitely going to need at least 1 milligram.
I'm like, I wasn't going to take it, but now I'm hungry.
Hey, again, the tool works, man.
I had a doctor in my DMs. He's like, you know, there is no such thing as a GLP-3, and I'm like, really? I'm like, you don't say so, man. Food, right? He's like, there is no such thing as GLP-3s. You need to stop spreading misinformation. I'm like, thanks, buddy.
You need to listen a little harder to why we're calling.
I'm like, yeah.
Keep your ears.
Someone put a label
your autism somewhere else, my friend.
Oh, I didn't get it at first. I was like, what the hell are y'all talking about? I was like, oh, it's a code word. Well,
code word, my friend. Yes, I know there's no such thing as a GLP-3. There's no GLP-3 receptor. Really?
The R word.
Yeah.
Didn't know
that. Not be named.
Thanks, Professor. I feel enlightened now. Yeah, it's look, it's just a tool in the toolbox. I think I've just seen it benefit so many people. And there's this thing like people were saying that, you can't gain weight, you can't gain muscle. Well, I call bullshit on that one too. I've heard that from a lot of people. I've seen so many people. I mean, I've been on one for a year and a half, and I'm fucking 270 pounds right now.
I can show you DEXA scans right now that show you that I put on tissue in a prep on GLP-3.
Yeah. Now, here's my question though. How would we compare? Now, this is where I hurt my brain with these stupid questions, but here's what it is. So I know I put on tissue with a GLP for sure, inarguable.
Yeah.
My question is, if I had not used the GLP, would I have put on more lean tissue? Doing everything else being exactly the same? Now that's what messes with my head.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But
it's circumstantial though. Like you think about it, like if somebody is metabolically disordered, they have their insulin sensitivity sucks, their pancreatic function sucks. They have liver, fatty infiltration in the liver. All of these things that you're not going to grow. Hypertrophy is not going to be optimized under that situation. And using a tool like the word we can't say to get liver health improved, to improve insulin sensitivity, to improve pancreatic function, improve metabolism. All of these things are only going to benefit you for hypertrophy.
So the net benefits become better, right? Because then the net benefits overall may overshadow any net negatives, leading to.
Well, you may not have the issues with the gastric emptying like I do. Like I already struggle with stomach issues. My stomach, my GI has always been a challenge for me. Yeah. And I went from the opposite. At first it was a benefit for me because I IBS-D, and those of you that know. And the slowed gastric emptying for me was a godsend at first.
Right.
Actually helped with my digestion.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's become a problem. Like I'm full for fucking 5 hours, and I can't eat every 2.5 to 3 hours like you need to for optimization for bodybuilding, and that's not great. For that in itself is not going to be great. If you can't eat, you're not going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to weigh all these different factors out. It's just, there's so many variables in the equation that we have to consider.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe about go ahead, Amy.
This time I am going to go, Mike.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the studies of any GLP, there is a difference in the way that a person who has diabetes responds to them versus someone who does not. Specifically, like people who have diabetes don't tend to lose as much weight as people who do not. So looking at you specifically, Paul, you have diabetes. So your response might be a little bit more unique in addition to just the general bioindividuality of all medications. And the one thing I think is interesting right now, all bodybuilders are wanting to use, the latest and greatest GLP-3, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect fit for everybody regardless. No medication is, not even every supplement is.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a unique response to some of these things. And that's where having a coach who looks at you and understands the mechanism of action behind these substances can help guide you in what's going to be best for your physique. Something that I definitely see with a lot of coaches is that it's not that they aren't using them, but they are pulling them a lot earlier because the half-life is so long. It's a good 30 days before these medications might be completely out of your system. So pulling them sooner and just kind of watching the response. That's also why it's good to work with a coach in an off season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely like the benefits for my blood sugar control and lipids were remarkable. Like my lipids were the best they've ever been, even with cholesterol medicine. I was able to get my ApoB and my LDL both down below 60, which I had never been able to do before.
Mm-hmm.
My A1C was as low as it's ever been with these in place. So I definitely had some benefit. I didn't really see any weight loss from it at all.
Right.
I'm on prescription Mounjaro now with just tirzepatide, which for me works better for me than the other one we can't talk about did, to be honest with you.
The Voldemort cream, yes.
The only thing I will say with the tirzepatide is the appetite suppression and the gastric emptying is much more pronounced.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've never had tirzepatide. I've been prescribed tirzepatide.
I switched from the Voldemort compound to the tirzepatide one about 6 weeks ago, I think it was, Paul, maybe 6-7 weeks, and it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference in the everyday life experience, I guess, in what you feel. I used to be able to eat anything and everything. Now I struggle. On the high days, I'm struggling to eat that. So, just like you said, appetite suppression.
My biggest gripe with the with these things across the board really is that, and you guys maybe you have similar experience with your lifestyle clients, but for a lifestyle client, like they start using this and it becomes a substitute for discipline. And sometimes you work months to give somebody create some better habits for somebody, and then they find this thing and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to throw it out the window because I've got this. I can go eat pizza and drink beer all weekend like a jackass.
Oh, so I was going to play devil's advocate with that because, for example, I'm going to use the example of my wife. I hope she doesn't get mad. But in her case, like the tirzepatide, the only difference that it made for her was her mental food noise disappeared. So now she can make the right choices.
Yeah, that's been more my experience.
And to her, it was life-changing. I mean,
yeah,
between that exercise, it was amazing.
I found for a lot of people that there are people that have very disordered hunger hormone signaling, ghrelin and leptin. Yeah, Josh,
Yeah,
you raising your hand.
Yeah.
But I think it can be a godsend for those people because it seems to fix,
yeah. I mean, in her case, it was she told me like within a week or two of starting, and this is a very low dose for the record. I'm not going to disclose the dosage, but it was just the right dose for her. And it was like, she said it was life-changing. She was like, she found herself not thinking about food all the time. She told me that when she was with friends before, she was always thinking, like, they would like meet at a social event, say a vacation, the girls' vacation, and they would have breakfast at this buffet. And by the time she was done with the buffet, she was thinking, oh, and when we get to Epcot to this restaurant, we're going to have this for lunch. And that disappeared completely. Her brain completely stopped doing that once this, drug took effect. So
That sounds fantastic to me, but I would get
Yeah.
dependent on that, and I wouldn't want to have to take it forever.
Yeah, see, for her, she tried everything. She tried to out-discipline that thing for years, for decades, and I've seen her. It was not lack of effort, and she would
Yeah.
always, eventually the
Yeah.
willpower runs out at the end of the evening, and bam.
I remember seeing in the studies on the clinical trials, there was there are people that have severe leptin resistance, like their body just does not respond to leptin signaling anymore, and the GLP-1 seems to fix that, improves leptin signaling, and improves ghrelin, improves the dopaminergic response to food, all of these things that make it hard for some people to diet. And it's, I remember Justin Harris saying this one time. He's like, ghrelin always wins.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Well, and there's no doubt that it's a miracle for people who have disordered hunger signaling and other metabolic disorders that it does a really great job with.
Yeah.
But there's also, a lot of the trials. I read a study where they had it was a disordered eating study, and these were binge eaters. And they took one of the study groups and put them on a I don't know, probably tirzepatide. I don't remember exactly which one it was. And there was no change in the tirzepatide group. They still binge ate because it's a mental thing for them. It's not
it wasn't a hormone signal thing. Right.
And that's where I think it becomes a poor substitute for really addressing that sort of thing with your clients. And maybe that's more my hardcore weight loss client guys that we deal with that more with. But, if you've got some sort of disordered eating, not disordered signaling, but disordered eating, it really gives us a false sense of security. And it never works because people yo-yo on and off of it all the time. You see it everywhere.
Well, that's the difference between a psychological and a physiological dependency, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that's interesting because that could be useful in psychology of trying to rule out whether it's a physical or a psychological issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tony, you made the point for me.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Great minds think alike. No, I mean, great minds think alike. No,
Double autism.
That's exactly, because there are people that are emotional eaters. They just, I was one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously I don't have a big appetite, but I'd sit down, I'd have a fucking shit day at work and be arguing with my ex-wife, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to eat a pizza and a bucket of ice cream.
Cake and ice cream fix it.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people think. That's why there's 50% of people that think, oh, stress makes me lose weight, and 50% of people who think stress makes me gain weight. No, it's your reaction to it, because 50% of people lose their appetite when they get stressed, and then the other half of people eat more when they get stressed.
Yeah, the one that comforts, the one that quick dopamine. Just
I blame my mom, because anytime I was stressed out when I was a kid, her answer was to bake cookies.
Fuck,
that's awesome. You'll feel better.
Just the easiest solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a whole video.
Cookie dealer.
I made a whole video about that. The heretic eating passing on of the eating disorders from generation to generation.
Generational eating disorders. Yeah.
That was mine. Was the
I remember the name
you can't get up until your plate is empty. That was
clean platers. Yeah.
Man, I wish I could do a film on it, man. It would be so bad, and it would get me banned on everything. But I love to.
Well, now I want you to do it.
Yeah, I know this would be great, but I love to shopping cart watch. There's got to be a way to tactfully film it and do a documentary or something. But I can look when I see somebody, and I feel terrible saying it, but you see that morbidly obese person walk into the grocery store. I like to watch what they put in their shopping cart, and I can almost predict 100% what it's going to be.
Yeah. And
I
so much
spend
of it
a
is
I spend a significant amount of time doing that on Sundays because I fill up like 15 gallons of water for my water cooler at Walmart every Sunday, and it's
Oh,
right in front of the self-checkout, so I just, like, look at people's carts as they all go through.
The
I
ones
was like,
that
how
get me
thirsty are you?
are the ones with the fat kids. And then you look at their cart, you're like,
and so much of it is like I can't help but think like so much of it is just not knowing. It's that lack of education, like lack of
They're
awareness.
just eating the
More
same
so,
stuff that their parents gave them when they grew up.
right.
They never think past that.
They never had a chance. Almost, it feels like unless you go out, out of your way to learn, it's not something that's taught like mainstream wise, which you would think it would be.
Yeah, I had to go out of my way to learn. Like, my family was not in any fucking way health conscious.
Oh, mine either, man. My mom gets so offended when I don't eat her food when I go to her house. I mean,
it's because it's an expression of love, right, Paul? Like,
she's
and
a
if you refuse
she's a
it,
southern cook, and she's like, hey, I baked this cake for you. I made this high calorie greasy dish for you. I'm so happy you're here. Let's celebrate. And I'm like, Mom, I can't eat that.
Yeah.
I remember being on I remember being on contest prep during, what was it, Easter? And she made all this food, and she's like, I brought my meal with me, and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you not eating? She was like upset that I wasn't eating her food.
Right.
Isn't your favorite thing, but it's healthy. You can have it, right?
Oh no, she doesn't even pretend that.
I know, but that's my favorite one.
At least she's honest. There you go.
They
You can just have a bite.
Like, you're wasting away, babe. You got to eat something.
We grew up in that like propaganda machine that told us things like hydrogenated oils were healthier for us than butter, right? Like, it was all
it's a margarine for sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just one example, though. I mean, you think of how many things we were convinced were good for us that, and eating these low-fat diets and,
all them Snackwells, fat-free cookies.
Snackwells.
You're old enough to remember, Mike, but I remember everybody jamming margarine, and that shit was made out of
there's people who still believe that.
Oils.
Yeah.
Arteries than eating.
Yeah, my in-laws still believe
recently,
arteries.
I just recently broke that news to my mom.
Yeah.
Does she listen?
Actually, yeah, because she's trying to improve her lipids and stuff. So she's actually been like asking me for advice and stuff. I'm like, well, margarine has to go.
Yeah,
you want a clogged artery, eat margarine.
And the other thing is the generational. I find like the generational patterns. Like my grandparents grew up poor, so they didn't have a lot of food. So of course, for them, a clean plate was actually a normal plate because they weren't very wealthy, so they had very little food. So it was more of the mindset of like, don't waste it because we don't have enough, rather than eat all of this because it's abundant, which would be my parents, right? Because they grew up there, and then and that's how I ended up being almost 300 pounds.
Remember when everybody was eating granola because it was healthy, and then you realize a cup of that shit's got like fucking 800 calories?
Yeah, for sure.
I still have to tell almost every new client that.
Well, and the infamous peanut butter's protein thing that just will not die with some people. It's stop. It's not protein.
Somebody asked me the other day if the reason that the creamy almond butter was so high in fat was because it had extra ingredients in it. And I was like, well, no, it's because it's made out of almonds.
It's the almonds. That's why they're delicious.
We want to get some questions in.
Absolutely. The first one is from Anavar Give Up 123. Hey, Paul, what are your thoughts on GH thickening the skin? Does it actually happen? And if so, is it reversible?
I mean, I guess through increased collagen synthesis, yes, that could happen. I just have not seen that be the case. I mean, I know plenty of bodybuilders that have run GH for a long time, and they don't seem to have thick skin to me. But also the increased collagen synthesis is going to, old people have paper thin skin, right? As you age, you have less collagen synthesis in your skin. And I think part of the effect of the GH, the so-called anti-aging, I wouldn't say it's not going to extend your life, but it's going to, some of the effects of aging, such as the worsened skin tone that you get when you get older, the GH seems to fix that.
Creaky joints.
creaky joints. Yeah, collagen synthesis. I mean, there's. I don't know that you would want too much collagen synthesis, because then you can end up with problems because of that. But I don't know. I think as you age, it's going to be more of a benefit. I wouldn't worry about thickened skin unless you're running fucking 50 units a day or some shit like that. I just have not seen that be the case.
Hey,
Yeah, I think the benefits you get out of it outweigh that.
Yeah.
Most people don't have enough collagen synthesis, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So anecdotally, I used to get, I'm as an older person, I have very thin skin on my forearms. So whenever I'd be in the gym and I would hit it, I would get these awful bruises. And I will say anecdotally that once I started with relatively low dose GH, that started disappearing. It's almost like the skin, there was something happened to the skin where it became slightly more resilient. If you know what I'm talking about, like where like you will like rub a machine or something by accident, or a cable, and then you get a light bruise on your skin that's like long and so on.
I think sometimes people mistake the water retention the GH causes for the I hear old school bodybuilding coaches talking about it causing thicker skin and all this stuff, and I think it's just the film of water that it causes. You're not going to change the thickness of your skin dropping in a week out from a show. That's just water retention.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people see that it can wash you out, and you have this. I'll see guys all the time that they'll run out of GH and they don't take it for a week and they drop 4 or 5 pounds. They're like, "Oh my God, I look so much better, tighter, and look better." And I'm like, "Yeah, you just lost all that additional edema from the from the GH."
Mm-hmm.
This is hilarious. Josh said granola should be mixed. Trail mix should be considered desserts. Remember when everybody was mixing fucking granola with their high-fat yogurt?
Yes.
It's called trail mix because people who go and hike on trails need a lot of energy.
And a low weight to carry.
So,
right.
60 grams of fat and 100 grams of carbs for breakfast. With no
you don't need a trail fuel
if you're
mix
Appalachian
for
County, if you're
office
Appalachian
lunch.
trails, yes. On your Appalachian trips, absolutely.
But what about high protein trail mix?
Don't get her started.
Jail.
9 grams of protein per serving, 40 grams of fat.
Yeah, and 30 grams of carbs.
Delicious.
I will say there is one granola that's pretty acceptable. If you ever heard of Bob's Red Mill granola?
Oh, okay.
It's like 50. It's like 51 carbs a serving to like 3 grams of fat. So it's nothing too
yeah, there's
wild.
some good like low fat granola for sure, but at that point it's like the ingredients are so simple you could just buy those ingredients.
Yeah, I've actually used it carving up some people that we have a little bit of gut distension issues, for the last few days. So it's almost like having nothing go through them, but the granola is very dense in carbs, sits well with most people, works pretty good.
Isn't granola a lot of oats though? Wouldn't that?
Oats, nuts, fat, oil, everything.
Yeah. But would that cause any digestion issues in your particular case study there, Dave?
No, not really. I mean, because the volume is so low, even though it's expanding in your gut, such a small amount's getting me that 50 carbs, per serving, that it just ends up working out well. I find it better sometimes than if you can think like bigger portions of cooked rice, which starts off being a large amount in the gut, and you're hoping it shrinks down, and you're hoping they're going to digest it with not much water in their system, not a lot of assistance with kind of digestion in place. Something like the granola just sits, it absorbs, it's done, doesn't really expand much.
Sticky rice is great too because it's a little bit more dense.
Yeah.
You can thank the Pacific Northwest for Bob's Red Mill. I just drove by the factory the other day when I was in Portland.
Yeah, it's good stuff. They got quite a few good
products. Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
That's my carb option. All right.
Reese's eggs.
Question.
All right. Next one is from Abe Waj 95. Hey, Big Paul, how long does it take after a show or a deep cut for sleep to start recovering? I'm 3 weeks post-show and still suffering. And he also asked, how long does it typically take for the fatigue and food focus to drop off after a show?
Well, that tells me you're probably not eating enough.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. I find when as soon as I start cranking the carbs back up post show, my sleep gets right back in line. I don't
All 6 hours.
I've been sleeping more lately. I've been sleeping closer to 7 or 8 now.
Right.
Lo and behold, my blood pressure has improved. No, I like to. I think a lot of people. I have a different opinion on this, and this is something I definitely learned from Justin. A lot of people reverse diet out of shows, and there's sometimes that I do it with people, but most of the time I just throw a bunch of good food right back at them. I'll have I had my guys compete this weekend. I had them run 3 consecutive high days right in a row with high carbohydrates, low fats. I'd rather them do that than go out and eat a pizza or starve themselves. And I think you'll find that sleep fixes itself pretty quickly. It could be dependent on your compound choices. I think a lot. This is another mistake that a lot of guys make is they just come completely off of everything right after the show, and you have not only do you have this issue with the not enough food, you put yourself in a compromised hormonal place where you're off all your gear. You're going to have a huge estrogen rebound because you were using probably heavy doses of DHT derived PEDs that are going to suppress estrogen, and you drop all the fat burners. I would taper slowly off the fat burners, and your body's just striving for homeostasis, and you're all over the fucking place after that. So I taper off all the gear. I taper off the fat burners over a 2 or 3 week period of time. I do drop the orals immediately coming out of the show, but I'll in trend things that are going to be more toxic. But the other stuff, I just leave it in place for about 6 weeks and just slowly taper off of everything and push the food back up. And I find that most of the time that fixes all the things that people have post-show, the lack of sleep, the hunger, all of that stuff. And it could be just your estrogen has rebounded super high. When estrogen gets high, you end up with this huge fucking hunger rebound too. Estrogen makes you hungry as fuck. I mean, that's that's just how it goes with estrogen. So that could be an issue as well. So I would eat a bunch of carbs, man. Keep the fats low. Don't cheat. Make sure if you've already. It's just how I do it with my clients. I'm not saying how you should do it, but I think that affects most of the problems.
Yeah. Maybe take a look at your sleep hygiene too while you're at it, like whatever your sleeping habits are, because you can certainly improve your quality of sleep that way also, on top of what's been discussed here. So that's, super dark room, noise canceling if possible, like white noise generator, super dark, super cold, right? What is it, 65 to 67 degrees, I believe, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it varies. It varies by person, but that's the average.
Yeah. So, I mean, look into that because those are really easy, low-hanging fruit that you can use to help improve your sleep.
And a big thing is making sure you get to bed early enough, because I bet you're waking up really early in the morning.
Yep.
No matter what. So try to get that bedtime early enough. And that's also the only opportunity you have for deep sleep. So if you're skipping the first couple hours of sleep, you're not getting deep sleep no matter what.
Yeah. And definitely try and go to bed at the same time, wake up at create that rhythm if possible. If some people's lifestyles make it impossible to do that, but if you can do those things, absolutely, it should help.
There's something to be said though. If you've not competed, or even if you have competed a lot, I find that you kind of think you feel good around that 2-3 week out mark. You're like, oh, I feel great again. Like I'm feeling totally normal. I really do think it takes like 6-8 weeks before you really are out of prep.
Yeah.
But you don't even really realize it. Like you think you feel so great, you think things are going so well, but some of those little lingering things like sleep or some food focus, like it can take a few weeks for those things to all completely kind of normalize. And the more you do it, the more you're kind of ready for it.
It took more than a couple of weeks to get in that depleted state where you're that fatigued. It's just like when people are frustrated that they don't lose weight in 3 months when it took them 20 years to put on the weight. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Amy. Yeah, I usually tell 8 to 12 weeks. There's also other issues too. Water retention seems to be a problem. I have with a lot of, especially bigger guys, it seems to be that takes a while. Your body just is striving to get back to some sort of homeostasis. But that's why I don't making big changes to hormones either post show. I think that's like the old school coach mentality is like, we got to come off of everything.
Yeah,
to me,
and
which seems
immediately,
just
right, which
idiotic.
is jarring.
Yeah, I mean that you're going to put you talk about stress. I mean, you yank everything and you have a hormonal crash and end up in an estrogen dominant environment for men. I mean, that's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got next?
Next one is from a member. This is from Chad Wallace. What is my optimal estrogen in order to maximize muscle building while training?
Aha.
I like to run it in the off season, the upper end of the reference range, or even a little bit over the reference range. I would say wherever you feel good. I mean, to me, it's just insanity, but there was a group of guys that were chasing high estrogen to get more IGF-1 conversion, thinking that was going to translate into more gains. And I would say evidence from the dudes that were doing it, I don't think any of them looked like they gained any more muscle, if you ask me. But there are benefits to having your estradiol run a little bit higher. Yes, you're going to have more hepatic IGF-1 conversion. You're going to have there are some kidney protective benefits. There's the improved lipid function, all these other things that how your body metabolizes lipids is going to be improved to a certain point. But once you get past a certain level in men, there's really no evidence that super physiological levels of estrogen is beneficial to men in any way. And in fact, there are plenty of studies that show that it's terrible for you, that leads to increased risk of cancer. There's the water retention that comes along with it, increases in blood pressure, the mental side effects that a lot of guys end up having. There's the
negative weight gain.
Yeah.
What's that?
Could be negative weight
appetite, weight gain. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many negatives. So I would say, look, man, run it higher in the off season. Definitely upper end of reference range. Listen to your body, see where you feel good. And I feel my best when I'm in that 40 to 50 range. I think I get much more than that, I start having problems. I start having water retention. My blood pressure gets high. I end up with erectile dysfunction. There's just a bunch of other problems that I have. So, but everybody, I've heard some dudes say that theirs is 90 and they feel fine. I don't know, feeling fine might not necessarily mean that you're not increasing your risk of cancer and other things downstream. There is some correlation between high estrogen and prostate cancer and colon cancers in men. So
the perception of it too, right?
Go ahead.
You say it has no effect on you, but if you're 25% body fat, you might not even know that you're holding water, right? If you're an incel who spends all your time on OnlyFans and doesn't have a girlfriend, you might not know you have sexual side effects.
Very true. Yeah, I'd be looking to put my estrogen in a place I can feel my best, so I can perform my best to grow the best muscle. Not always just actually altering my estrogen level for what I think on paper is going to be the best for hypertrophy. So some people kind of run it high, deal with a little bit of side effects because they're under the illusion that I'm going to grow better this way. When the reality is, in the long run, where this is a long game sport, put it in a healthy spot so you can actually train better, feel better, sleep better, stay leaner, have less water retention, less blood pressure issues. All those things accumulate to a more hypertrophic, if that's even a word, anabolic state for you to actually grow, position for you to grow.
Yeah, it was bizarre to me that this became a notion recently. Like, you look at all the guys that are screaming it, none of them, I didn't see any improvement in any of them.
Well, they're still not finishing the experiment, because sure, higher estrogen might give you better IGF-1 conversion, but that's not where the end game of IGF-1 is. Is it getting into the cell, creating better growth? So we're only kind of looking. It's the same argument of like HGH, how much to use to get like optimal IGF-1 levels. It's still not painting the whole picture if you're actually going to grow better. So I'd rather play the safe game.
Yep. I would say high end of the reference range, long story short, is where I would run it in the off season. See where you feel best. I mean, to me, I don't care. I don't know about you guys, but I don't care if running my estradiol double the reference range is going to get me more growth if my dick doesn't work. I'm sorry. I'm not making that trade-off.
Right.
I think those are the biggest indicators too, of like where you're at estrogen wise, is the sexual side effects, you know, to one degree or another. When you're low, you get one set, and when you're high, you get another.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, nobody operates well on the opposite range. We know that for sure. Like if you have super low estrogen, it's going to be hard to grow, and it's going to be hard to perform, you know, very well at the gym. Like you're just going to be still achy, still have some kind of sleep.
Oh,
sleep
trust me, low
dysfunction.
estrogen fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's just as bad, if not worse. For me, that's terrible. Like there's at no point do I feel my worst in my bodybuilding journey when my estrogen is just depleted and crushed.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about even with contest prep, because the old school mentality was just to smash it the last 6 weeks or so. I'm thinking about holding that off until the last 2 weeks or so before a show. I don't know. I'm going to play around with it myself. I don't want to experiment on clients, but I'm going to play around with it on myself and just kind of leave it a little higher up until maybe like 2 weeks out. See how I do. See if I look better.
My degenerative disc are a good barometer of that. Just estrogen being low. As soon as I dry out, man, I get the back aches.
Yeah, my degenerative everything. All right, let's get another question in.
All right, from Anabolic's Lover. Hope you're all doing well. What are your thoughts on some bodybuilders using Proviron to block 5-alpha HSD enzyme that metabolizes Masteron, thus making Masteron more anabolic?
I have not heard about this.
That sounds made up and fake.
Yikes.
5-alpha hydroxy
Yeah, there's no way those.
dehydrogenase. If I can fucking say it right, is that right?
He might be talking about using Proviron on SHBG, but I guarantee it doesn't have anything to do with that alpha enzyme.
No, it's the
Masteron
5-alpha hydroxy steroid dehydrogenase that causes DHT to not work, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, like, I think it dissolves in the muscle or something.
Yeah, but I thought Masteron and Primobolan were selectively bind and don't interact with 5H. 5A.
As far as I know, Masteron doesn't. And Proviron, I don't think would either. But the things there, I think he's just describing this wrong.
Proviron's just basically DHT.
Yeah, well, DHT. Yeah, I think he's describing their method wrong. That has nothing to do with what they're doing. What they're doing is, for some reason, he thinks they're taking Proviron to let Masteron go away off of SHBG, but Masteron doesn't get on SHBG. So I don't know what he thinks they're using.
No, I think what he's implying is that the 5-alpha hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, God, why do I struggle saying that? Is causing the Masteron not to work as effectively. I honestly don't know. I don't think it would have any
impact, because I don't think Masteron is built like DHT.
I might ask Mr. Steve about that one. He would probably.
Broderick got asked this exact same question word for word on his live this morning.
I would say 0% chance that's applicable.
I don't know.
That's how solid I am on this one.
Yeah, tell me how long you want to run Masteron and Proviron at that cost just to get Masteron to work as a.
Well, you're gonna have a 0 SHBG if you're running Masteron and and Proviron together, which I do at the end of contest prep. But
I'd say
but anybody who's telling him that is wrong. They're not doing that. That's not the method. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I haven't heard about this. This is a new one to me. What did Broderick say?
To be honest, I'm trying to remember, but he didn't have a whole lot of like, oh yeah, that sounds good about it either.
Well, what's the argument? Like, if now I get to use only a gram of Masteron to be slightly anabolic compared to 2,
right? Like,
you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's just trying to get a little fancy, not trying to crap all over the thought of it, but if you're specifically trying to use Masteron to be more anabolic, I wouldn't be using like an expensive Proviron, adding another oral in there that I got another compound and trying to play trickery. Just use probably what works.
What we all have more testosterone.
Yeah.
One thing I do remember Broderick expressing is that people respond so differently and dramatically to Proviron from person to person that it can't really be just thought of as a staple to do that.
That's why we discussed sometimes Proviron doesn't seem to work at all very well for some people on show prep.
Proviron increases the glucose content of your semen. That's all it's good for in a bodybuilding context.
Sick.
That's it.
That's it.
Good to know, I guess.
Read the FDA inserts on these things. These are
So how does that
work?
work with the pineapple?
I don't know.
That sounds like something that people who care about their nut size would care about.
Yeah, it's actually 3-alpha. Sorry, it's 3-alpha hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. Now that I think about it, it's not 5-alpha. He's thinking of
5-alpha reductase.
yeah, 5-alpha reductase. Getting those two confused. So I'm assuming he's meaning the 3-alpha, which basically makes DHT inert.
Right.
Because Proviron's already 5-alpha reduced, right?
Proviron's literally oral DHT. If you want to make Masteron more anabolic, you methylate it and then out Superdrol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Just methylate your methylate. Yeah. We already know how to make it better.
Yep. Anyway, I'm out of my depth here. I'm not a biochemist. I know enough to be dangerous.
Wait, hang on. I might have that one.
Try it.
all right,
Tell us how it works.
Let's get to the next question.
Okay. Next one is from Cosmo911FGFF. Hi all, 56 years old, just started taking GH at 3 units. Had to stop because of hip bursitis. Is it maybe bad GH or is it me?
How are you injecting yourself?
Right into the hip.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he injecting GH into his hip? I mean, you could, but I wouldn't.
Like an EpiPen. Smash.
I don't see how GH would cause any issue with bursitis. I mean, it could be just the water retention, inflammation.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you.
Water retention.
I was going to ask that, the water retention with bursitis, but yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
You got two stumping questions.
Yeah. And or could just back off the dose a little bit or go to the every other day and see if that fixes things.
Yeah, because I don't think those two are related.
And
I mean,
you're not a particularly high dose either.
If you've got bursitis, I can see how water retention from GH could make it worse.
Yeah.
It's not creating a condition, it's just exacerbating one.
Well, you make a good point. You make a good point, Amy, too, is maybe just, even though it's only 3 IUs, is maybe just reintroducing at simply 1 unit, then work up to 2 unit and see if, if you just started right at 3, for you, that might be a little bit much, causing some issues.
Yeah. I want this person to check their blood pressure.
Yeah, GH can definitely make. I've heard some people say it makes their joints achy. I think it's just the fluid additional fluid retention. But I don't think there's any direct correlation that I can think of with that and bursitis. I mean, I don't see how they could be interrelated.
And I think when you start GH, you really have to manage your hydration a little better. Because if you're doing the same level of hydration management that you were before GH and you start having all these side effects related to water retention, you probably weren't getting enough magnesium or potassium
or water.
Adding both those things to my morning routine helped me overcome any of the water retention related side effects from GH, and it has for my clients too.
I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe if you already had an existing bursitis and you had additional water retention, that could aggravate the bursa sac, possibly. I don't know. I mean, that it's just speculating here. I mean, but I don't think there's any that I can think of, unless I'm missing something. I don't think there's any direct mechanism in which the GH could drive. It would be indirect.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Well, here's a simple answer. If you feel worse on something, don't do it.
Or take it out.
Then you go on a treadmill and
Yeah. Or Amy's advice: do it every other day and see if you feel better.
That's not my medical advice.
Start the day with some magnesium glycinate, and a quarter teaspoon of light salt in your morning drink, and that'll help. It'll help improve your water retention.
Nice.
Okay. All right. From Tron 7000, I've heard people saying donating blood is bad due to lowering iron. Any truth to that?
yes.
I mean, it can be. Depends on your situation. If you have high iron levels, then no, might be helpful. But I have seen quite a few I don't see the plague of it that I used to see, but there used to be bros that were donating. They were going to different blood banks and donating like every 45 days. And it ended up making themselves anemic and having like no fucking ferritin.
Yeah.
And then eventually your blood cells upregulate anyway, so your blood just gets thicker as a compensation if you do it that regularly.
Yeah. I go in and donate 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, it takes Josh, what does it take? 120 days for red blood cells to fully turn over, 90 to 120.
Yeah, 90 to 120. Yeah, I think you can get some 58s if you really blow away your system.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't donate any more frequently than that if you're going to donate. I do it just as a, because my daughter had a situation where she had extreme blood loss and had to have a bunch of transfusions when she was younger. I'm the universal blood type.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you.
Which is very, very, very much needed. So I go in and do it, and then it does seem I have problems with my red blood cell count and iron getting a little too high sometimes. Probably all the fucking red meat I eat. I probably should cut back on eating steak, but I eat steak every day. I love it.
So if you have a blood transfusion and you're suddenly feeling anabolic, you can blame Paul for that.
I don't do it on contest prep, but I don't use trend, so nobody's getting trend blood.
Yeah.
Poor bastards.
Got out of the hospital and I was swole.
It's grandma have biceps.
I actually donated on Monday.
Thank you.
Nice.
I went in and donated on Monday. Yep. My blood looked brown. My they were like, "Man, you got a lot of iron in your blood." And
okay. Is there dust in it? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
My hemoglobin was 17.9, so it wasn't terrible.
Most grandmas could use some gains.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't terrible by bodybuilding standards. I've seen guys with hemoglobin over 20, Josh, on blood panels.
I believe that.
Grandma's cousins fighting sarcopenia with our anabolic blood.
Shrimp bologna sandwiches.
Is it worth mentioning with the I'm sorry, Paul, go ahead.
I was going to say, the long story short is, yes, if you overdo it, you can make yourself anemic.
Yeah. And I was just going to quickly mention, when people talk about asking for advice on donating blood, if it is something that you're trying to, battle hematocrit or hemoglobin, I would just check how you're getting to that position in the first place. If you're an anabolic user and it's EQ, the typical EQ, running red blood cell counts up, just kind of consider if that's the compound for you. What happens too is if your hematocrit continues to stay high and you're depleting ferritin and you're depleting your iron stores, you're going to still be in a kind of a crappy spot for your hematocrit, and then lowering your oxygen delivery capabilities because iron stores are a little bit lower as well. So you could be backing yourself into a different problem by trying to fix things with over donating sometimes. So see if you can always look at the problem from the root of the problem and see if you can address it there, so you don't have to use these tactics too much.
Yeah, and Dave's right. Medically, we would look at make sure you're hydrated, run the test again, check what's causing it, and obviously you have to drop that down if you want your numbers to be back to normal, or otherwise they stay elevated. When I go above 52, I start the daily aspirin, 81 milligrams, and I do carry the aspirin just like Mr. Paul.
Baby aspirin.
Mm-hmm.
Silly question. I should know this, but if you are about to experience, if you feel like you're about to have a heart attack, is it 81 milligrams of aspirin? Okay, so you're going to take a couple of those and crunch them.
You're going to chew them up, and you're going to hopefully sublingual as much as possible.
I just get the regular aspirin. I get the chewable ones.
Mm-hmm.
I keep them in my gym bag.
Yeah,
just in case.
Like when you have a heart attack, you sometimes have time to get to spliff, but sometimes you don't.
I was joking about my blood being brown.
It's a good joke. I just missed it. It was rust blood. I was like, so close.
It was dark though. It was not.
Rust blood's a good name. That's a cool name. You should start a band.
If it were brown, I think they would have admitted me to the hospital.
Probably is one already.
All right, what do we got up next?
We have a fun question from Pal. What do you guys normally order at a coffee shop?
Whatever my wife gets me. I could care less.
Off season latte. I'll get a latte off season.
I roll the dice of fate.
Contest prep is black as my soul.
I had a Starbucks problem, which I'm recovering from right now. But
how long has it been since your last Starbucks?
It's been months, 4 months.
Congratulations, Paul.
Months, yeah, something like that. It's sugar-free vanilla latte. This was my venti sugar-free vanilla latte.
Yeah.
And even that sugar-free, I posted some stuff where that thing would fucking blow my blood sugar up.
Yep.
I go up to like 300 on when it supposedly has like less than 10 grams of carbs in it.
It's that delicious frothy latte thing, whatever that is, that magic stuff. That tastes amazing.
So I'm like, either they aren't what they advertise or something fucking weird is going on here. So when I drink coffee at home, it doesn't do this.
Hey, maybe it's like that Seinfeld episode with the fat-free yogurt that made everyone fat because it actually did have fat. Maybe it's the same thing. They have like sugar in there, even though it's no sugar.
Yeah, I have to wonder like how much of a fuck do people working at Starbucks give? Yeah, fuck this diabetic.
Yeah, fuck this.
Here comes the.
I know Starbucks is.
I think they take their job very seriously, and I love all of the people that work at restaurants. They're all great people.
Correct.
Yes.
Y'all can have no spit burgers. I ain't trying to have no spit burgers.
That's fair.
If anybody's never watched Waiting, you should.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that movie's so funny.
We had
Classic.
kids that would put their butt on the like Ben and Jerry Baskin Robbins ice cream gallons. Like,
Listen,
yes.
I've worked in the kitchen of Olive Garden, and you don't want to know how many bare hands go on that pasta.
Really?
Oh,
Oh my god,
they have bears back
Waiting.
there?
I gotta tell you. Go ahead, Tanya.
No, that was it. I was just answering him sometimes.
I gotta tell you I gotta tell you this one. I had an Olive Garden freak out one time myself because very simply we ordered Jackie and I, this was years ago. This was well before I was bodybuilding. And anyways, we were at the bar back when I was drinking and we were just having margaritas and apps, and we ordered the what's the bread with the spinach dip in bread? You know?
Yeah.
Artichoke, spinach artichoke. Yep.
Yeah, spinach artichoke. And the bread came out literally blue because of the mold all over the bread. So at first
Absolutely
I told them, I'm like, this is ridiculous. How did you not know this? I can't believe you even put this in front of me. And they took it, just ended up saying, take it back, give me a new one, please. You know, fresh bread, obviously. They took my entire plate, put it in the oven, burnt off what they thought were burning off or like sanitizing my food, brought it out. Now I have charcoal black bread with mold all over it. And
now it's black mold.
I just lost it. I'm like, how stupid are you? Like, what made you think I was going to be like, oh, thanks, this looks so much better? I completely lost
charred
it.
fungi, delicious.
What was the resolution?
It was so long. I think I just got free round of drinks in my apps.
Listen, you should have had an entire free meal.
So maybe it was safe.
Yeah, I might have. I don't remember, to be honest. It was a while back. They kept the margaritas coming that day for sure.
Damage control here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have my Waiting story. Have you? How many of you have seen Waiting?
I haven't. No.
All right, so you know about the bat.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
What?
There is a game that they played in this where they were trying to trick the other staff to looking at their testicles. That was, and you get to kick the guy in the ass. And the more creative you are, the more you get to kick the guy in the ass. And I remember seeing that for the first time, and I worked in a restaurant in high school, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, we used to do this. We used to try to trick the other guys to look at our balls while we were the most creative ways. Like, hey man, I got this for you to look at.
Check it out.
You can't do that in today's world. That would get you.
My generation had the guys that did ball.
You'd have to register as a sex offender.
Folks, this was 40
I don't know,
years ago. I was in high school. I was a minor.
The kitchens of restaurants are still relatively lawless. It's like a war trench in there.
It's a hard job, though. To be fair, like working,
it really is.
people would send food back, and we would just replate it and send it back out, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is great."
Oh my God.
And you wouldn't believe the amount of food waste. The amount of it had to be equivalent to the amount of food that was sold that I saw wasted every day.
Oh yeah,
This is
probably.
why I would just much rather make my own food for a cheat meal.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, what do we got next?
All right, let's get this one from Aaron. Any major difference running masked P versus E for a 20-week push phase? Masked E is a little difficult to find.
It's impossible to find, and if you are finding it, it's not real.
More shots daily, right?
Just more shots. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same
daily shots.
compound. I mean, the pharmacokinetics of it's going to be a little different. I don't know. You'd have to look at it, but you're just going to have to take an every other day shot. I mean, that's going to be the big difference.
Does Mass P have a little bit more mast because of the
It's a smaller ester, if I remember
Right, because of the
correct.
ester.
So the concentration is going to be moderately different.
slightly
Yeah,
different.
it's not going to be anything worth of note. Maybe a few milligrams
I
difference.
say E might be denser because it's 200 per ml, and isn't P just 100?
No, it's the ester makes up part of the weight. So like if enanthate is a larger carbon chain, so an enanthate, like 20% of the weight, if I recall correctly, is actually, so like if you have 100 milligrams.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like 1 ml of master on E is 200 milligrams. If P is 100, then you do have more in E, most likely.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is
ester,
like
yeah.
if it's
Like
so
concentration.
for milligram per milligram, like 20% of the milligram weight would be the actual ester chain, whereas it might be 10% on the so for example,
Yeah, I'm
if you
thinking
had-
shot volume.
yeah, you know, if you're comparing milligram to milligram, so like I'm just talking
Oh,
numbers off
absolutely,
the
you're
top
right,
of my head, but
Yeah, you're good.
so don't quote me on this, but so like propionate might be actual concentration might be 90 milligrams per 100. This actual hormone,
Yeah.
right? Whereas
That sounds about right.
enanthate would be maybe 80 or something.
Right.
There you go. Somebody put it up 70% versus 80%. Yeah. So it's not worth enough. Hell, the fucking margin of error and how the UGLs dose things probably is. I mean, you send shit off for lab testing, it's always off. Oh, I had an interesting one. I had a client that sent some Anavar off for lab testing, and it was actually don't ask me how the fuck this happened, but it was Superdrol, Winstrol, and it had a little bit of Cialis in it.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that sounds fun, but not if I didn't know it was coming.
Just a tiny little bit of Cialis in it. Can you imagine a bikini competitor getting that?
Wow.
I mean,
Wouldn't
Was it called Octane Booster? Because it should have been.
that sounds like a gas station pill.
Man, you're gonna rage and have a boner, man. I bet the
Easy.
pumps were good for that.
Well, they're definitely trying to get hard with the Superdrol, Winstrol, and Cialis all at the same time. For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Just smoke
That's
meth before you work out.
The
guys.
club
Come on.
pregame. It sounds like the club pregame.
There you go.
Why is my clips?
I can't say this on air, but yeah. You said it, I didn't.
Yeah.
I used that word the other day and I made a reel out of it and threw it all over Instagram.
I like clitoris reels.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I didn't say it.
All I'm saying is I've been telling people.
Hey. Clickbait.
Nice, I like that one.
There it is.
All I'm saying, I've been sending some I've been telling guys to get everything tested, and I've seen some fucking wild ass shit lately. I had a guy that had testosterone he sent off that was nothing but vitamin E oil.
Oh, if he doesn't want those Superdrol Winstrolls, I'll take them. That sounds awesome.
Literally, and I'm like, he's like, what should I do with this? And I'm like, take 2 of them.
Your skin will look much better. Although vitamin E is not safe to overdose.
Yeah, vitamin E. I've seen some really underdosed testosterone. I had a guy that had some that was supposed to be enanthate at 200 milligrams per ml, and it was SIP at 30 milligrams per ml. That was actually in the stuff. Yeah, I've seen some crazy shit. But the Superdrol, Winstrol, and and Cialis one was the only thing I can figure is like these guys that are making this shit probably making it in their fucking basement or just filling caps with stuff. And there had to have been just like some residue of Cialis left on the.
So why not use it for marketing, I guess?
No, I don't even think it was that. I think it was just accidentally.
It was just there.
So let's say you're going to do that. Would you do like 20 milligrams?
It was just some contamination.
5 of Cialis? Is that?
But what I'm guessing is they were probably out of Anavar powder and just dumped in. They're like, oh, we got this left over. Let's just put this in here and sell this.
Or they got some
Well, are you having your guys send stuff to Janishik?
Yeah. I don't
Is there
know if I
anyone
can
else
put that
besides
on the-
Janishik? I feel like we should talk about.
No, there is nobody else.
Nobody else. Okay. Is there Chase? Use somebody.
Well, there's a place in Canada, but you can't send stuff off for lab
Yeah,
testing
I'm
in
not
the US. There's the fucking laws here. You can only do it if you're a researcher in the US, which is fucking ridiculous.
So have you seen, Paul, an actual uptick in people doing testing? Because I don't see a lot of people doing testing, at least not more than they used to.
I've been telling people, especially if you're doing a contest prep, man, I would fucking test everything. If you bought it in the last year.
People who can afford it are doing it more.
Yeah.
I test off my own blood, but I take stuff you can pick up on blood. So,
I'm going to answer this one. It's like, what compounds do you guys think are least faked? I mean, I used to think testosterone was the least fake, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
I've seen some multiple. I've done consult calls. I don't want to name the brands, but there were a couple brands if you know that were recalled that had some testosterone that was severely underdosed or had nothing in it at all.
That's what I've seen and heard of, underdose on the testosterone.
And I noticed it about 5 months ago, because I started doing some blood work consults where like guys, their gear dosage was not matching their testosterone levels. I was getting these dudes that were on cycle that would have like a 300 test level. I'm like, this ain't right. No wonder you feel like shit, dude.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not responding. I feel like shit, and then we get blood work done. And I used to not have people test their testosterone level. I mean, that's a good way to know right away. I mean, if you're taking 300 milligrams of testosterone and your test levels are 400, then something's wrong. something's off. Honestly, the thing that I don't see faked right now, it's funny because a few years ago, probably a decade ago, there was a lot of fakes. It's GH. All the GH seems to be legit.
Yeah. I guess it's gotten to that point where production is so relatively cheap that why fake it? Like there's no.
I think there's just no hesitancy to fake peptides as much as the oil market. Like those raw products are harder to get. That's why they're getting faked so much. Where the raw ingredients for these peptides, and it's a booming industry, especially,
Somebody said it's a mix, Superdrol, Winstrol, Cialis. I mean, I guess it's called war ready.
Yeah. Well, somebody's idea then.
Sounds amazing.
Well, whatever it was, that they had bought Anavar, and maybe they mistakenly got this. I don't know.
Yeah, war ready instead.
Paul,
what's the come up with these names?
What's the highest free test you've ever seen on somebody?
I mean, Chase Irons.
Cases, yeah.
No, I mean like someone that someone you've personally seen blood work for, though. I mean, we've seen Chase.
Most of the testing I see, they only go up to 1,500, and then past that, it doesn't show.
Yeah, guys are cheap and don't get the expensitive tests.
Just go to Quest. There's no upper limit.
Yeah, well,
I've had test 7,800 before.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got mine.
How did you feel?
By the way, felt great.
We're under 2,000, Dave.
That was my first contest prep last year.
I'll bet you were like, woo.
Yeah. Mine was 5,700. It was ridiculous.
Total. I mean, you got to think total is bound to binding proteins. Like it doesn't really matter, right?
Yes,
yeah, my free was just around 850.
That's crazy high free. Holy fuck, man.
Dave builds muscle well now, guys.
Jesus.
I tell you this.
Yeah.
Your free was higher than most total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that honestly, that's 750 milligrams for me. since the show, and I just went down to TRT. I wanted to check it at the, before I dropped down my dosage. I wanted to do a full hormone panel. But yeah, I was surprised too. I was like,
I saw a blood panel for a female pro IFBB bodybuilder a few years back, and her free test was almost 400. That was impressive.
It's crazy it's crazy what different compounds that aren't testosterone can reflect as testosterone on panels though. Like I've seen as low as female low testosterone and as high as in the 800s on the same exact very conservative cycle of NPP and Anadrol.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, now I know that the Superdrol Winstrol Cialis combo is a deliberate thing. I was like, what the fuck?
Already. That does sound awesome. As I say, I might know this person, so I just wondered. We also learned if you want to make Masteron stronger, just make Superdrol. Just take Superdrol, you methylate it like everything else.
Just take War Ready. I'm going to prep on that.
Well, that is Masteron.
Take War Ready and the testosterone booster that's probably being sold right next to it.
At least it had drugs in it, right?
If I have cirrhosis of the liver and a boner on stage, you'll know why.
You just look hard.
But you were ready for war.
Yeah, he was ready.
All right, I guess we should wrap this up. It's going on long enough. Appreciate each and every one of you. I think that's a good way to finish this one off.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next episode, ladies and gentlemen. Adios.